Hello, my dear folks. Welcome to a stream. After a while, I haven't really been uh, showing myself lately as much. Yeah, just simple thing I want to say. It's because I have been working a lot lately. I mean, that's always my excuse, but man, this time it was really a lot. I was working, you could say, a whole week straight. From Tuesday till Saturday, I was only working. And this week I worked 2 days, like no, 3 days actually. Now I have off for 5 days and then this shit will repeat again. But hey, here I am. Want to give a little heads up, little quick note. Yeah, I still have my treasure gaming shit up. I still got a couple of videos that I already recorded. I'm only waiting. Well, I don't mean waiting, but I am actually trying to currently edit them. Because one of them episodes is an entire hour long, or I think even more, if I'm correct. And depends. Most of the time, I cut off a lot of shit, and then yeah. But hey, I'm just saying the content isn't lost. I still got it. I still recorded a shit ton of it. Didn't have much time to record anything else lately. But who knows? Maybe. I mean, like I said, for the time, I'm only gonna record a couple of PC games and some emulator shit because that's where my current that's how I basically cannot waste my time, if you know what I mean. Because usually I waste my time if I you know, work a little too much on trying to set up the recording tools for my PlayStation and stuff like that. Whatever. And for those wondering what I'm doing, my foot is so strangely itchy. I don't know what it is, but sometimes this one foot is itchy for no reason. I don't even know why. It's just insane, and it's itching like crazy. Let's actually close the window. Also, for some ambience, I'm gonna turn on the TV. Because why wouldn't I? I mean, there's really nothing you guys will see on TV, but here we go. Simpsons. I hate this show so much, guys, if you didn't know. Did I ever mention this? I actually really hate The Simpsons. I mean, I hate The Simpsons now. Back then, I really enjoyed the show. I really liked the older episodes a lot. I even liked the episodes where most people said they started to hate the show, which would be, you know, the Seymour Skinner arc or whatever. But I'm just saying, I actually liked the stuff that came afterwards. I think for me, the downfall of the show was when they had that Lady Gaga episode, and afterwards it only got worse and worse. And Disney is pretty much at the moment milking this show to death by constantly having crossovers between Marvel and Star Wars, and it's kind of insane. Next thing that's gonna happen is a Mickey Mouse crossover, perhaps. But hey, you read the thumbnail's name? The thumbnail's name, the video's, the live stream's name. I'm gonna read today. Shit. I'll be reading the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, and additional afterwards by Stephen Kotkin, who is a fucking asshole. Why? We will get to it. But I also want to mention this. I got this book, lovely book. I got it by my friend Oscar Kolka, who signed it right here. He actually signed it like 3 times, I believe. Because there's another one here. This is his signature. This is pretty much a one-of-a-kind Communist Manifesto. We got an enjoy the book Oscar smiley. And yeah, he crossed out the additional words from the guy who edited, as you can see. I would probably do the same, because the thing with this guy is, it's additional words from some fucking moron who doesn't like communism. And he doesn't like the shit that's written in here. Which makes me wonder, why do you even get such an idiot to do it? I will never understand it. And it's not just a little bit of afterwords and introduction words, it's a lot. I think the book doesn't actually start till page 30. Page 39 is where the actual book starts. Like, look, this chunk I'm holding here is the introduction. This is the rest. Then let me see where the afterwords are. Where's the afterwords? Yeah, here you go. The afterwords start. They're here. Here's the afterwords. And now let's go back to 39. Jesus Christ, guys. This chunk in the middle is the Communist Manifesto. Wow. Man, these fucking morons who did the afterwords and I think it's actually two guys. No, it's only Stephen Cochrane. No, here. Featuring an extensive provocative introduction by historian Martin Malia, this authorized English translation of the Communist Manifesto, edited and annotated by Engels, with prefaces to editions published between 1872 and 1888, provided a new opportunity to examine the documents that shook the world. Shook is a weird word. Yeah, English version, obviously, because Oscar, my friend, he read it in English. He can obviously not read the original version, which was written in German, which is a version that I want to read, in fact, because I feel like that despite this being a translation, which is probably good, I think many things are lost in translation. And since German is such an, I don't want to say niche, it's like such a detailed language, and English isn't exactly a detailed language, I'd say that many things are lost. There's many words in the German vocabulary for all kinds of bullshit, but in the English ones there are none for many things. But hey, I will only read it a bit later, because I'm waiting for a couple more people to join, especially the guy, Oscar, who sent me this lovely gift. Gives me some time to show off what he else sent me. He else sent me a shit ton of things. I think I showed it on Twitter. As you can see, over here on my fingers, there's the PS1 games. He sent me a bunch of PS1 games, and down here, you can't see it, there's a bunch of PS2 games that I still have to put into the shelf. Let me show you these. These are cool. These are the coins that I received from him. And I'm gonna start collecting coins now, like I used to back in my youth. But I kind of stopped because I needed the money. This is no joke. I used to collect coins a lot, but then I needed the money. So we have here, let me read. Fuck, the lightning is gay. Film Krönur, Island 2008. Focus. Focus. You bitch ass. Yeah, what I like about the Kronen is that Krönur is that there's always some animals like focus. Fucking autofocus. There's always some fish or crabs or anything like that. Like here. Oh, we even have Deutschmark from DDR. Deutsch-Demokratische Republik. Then we got, oh yeah, 50 Kronen, which is like a little crab, as you can see. Well, as you cannot see because the focus is shit. Then we got 100 kronen. Kronen. I don't know what's. I think kronur is how they say it in Icelandic, and kronen is how they say it in German. It's 100. It's like a big fish. I don't know which exactly these fish are. 10 kroner. Pretty big. I like these things. I don't know. This has nice character to it. Oh, 1 kroner, which is like the tiniest fish. Well, actually, he's bigger than the other ones, but now we have it. I think this one is Polish because it uses Polish. Yeah, Polska, I fucking hate reading this. Polska, Czechpospolita, Ludowa. 50. This is from the communist era of Poland, I believe. What does it say? Generoni Władysław Sikorski, 1881, 1945. 45? No, 43. Yeah, communist. Here we have it. A Lenin coin, 1870 till 1970. Here you have Lenin's lovely head. And what does it say? It says okay, this one is 100% Russian. This is a Russian coin. And I got all of these doubled because my brother got some of these too as a gift. So let's see what else we got before we get to the shit. I don't know, I want to waste as much time as possible. I guess while we're at it, let's do a little bit of a recent pickup, some recent gifts received. So, what do we have here? I received thanks to Oscar, the original version of Final Fantasy VII. The full fucking thing. For free, by him. And it even includes a preview disc of Final Fantasy VIII inside. And intense arcade action sequences. Funny, I've actually never played the original version of this game. I mean, I think I did, but I didn't play it all the way through because this shit is long. Winter release is 98. Is this like a demo disc? Yeah, it seems to be that there's also a demo disc inside. You guys know how expensive these can get. And here we got the demo disc of Final Fantasy VIII. I love these. I love these demo discs. And we got the winter release of 98, which in my opinion is the best year of the PlayStation 1. Best releases, best everything. The manual with good old buddy Cloud Strife on there. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna get to the book a bit later. Yeah, I don't know, for a 90s PlayStation 1 manual, this one is kind of basic and not that interesting. But whatever, I guess the important thing is the game, obviously. I think this one comes with exactly, if I'm correct. Oh shit. Something tells me this disc is supposed to stand there, but it doesn't work. What are you doing? There we go. This is exactly 3 discs, I believe. Well, usually it says somewhere. 3 discs, it's 3 discs. Because this is a long game. This was the one that popularized JRPGs in the West. I mean, they were already popular before, thanks to the other Final Fantasy titles, but 7 was on a whole different level. Here we have the one and the only, and the one that I want to try out the most out of these, Final Fantasy VIII. The one that is very underrated and that got a remaster on the PlayStation 4. And I think this one has the prettier discs. Yeah, you have like these discs with these characters on there. No manual, unfortunately, but you can't get everything. 4 discs, if I'm correct. Yeah, 4 discs. Let's read it. Final Fantasy VIII, The Journey of a Lifetime. A member of an elite military team, Squall, is forced into a conflict beyond imagination. To survive, he must contend with a desperate rival, a powerful sorceress, and his own mysterious dreams. Yeah, this was the one with the very great character models, and the very controversial third disc, I believe. I don't know, it was the second or the third one of them. Yeah, cool. I am looking forward to playing this. I also have the 9th game that's behind me over there. I'm gonna show you that one I got. Believe it or not, I bought it myself. No, I got that one for so cheap. It's unbelievable. Like these two, I basically got for free, but this one, oops, this one I found. This one I found a long time ago at a flea market. It's Final Fantasy 9. 9. I got a shit ton of these fat PlayStation 1 cases with 3 to 5 discs or whatever. But hey, this one has 4 discs. And what I like about this one a lot is that everything is written in German. Because these ones are both in English. Since Oscar plays the English versions, there is no real alternative for him. Understandable. But I play the German shit because superior language, obviously. I mean, it is a superior language. People can say what they want, but the language is very expressive. The only time when German isn't cool is when they try to Englify themselves a little too much. And man, this game has the nicest discs of them all. It has the lovely Final Fantasy artwork by Nomura, I believe. I think he did them. 4 lovely discs. Yeah, something tells me I will like this one the most. Because I love the fantasy Final Fantasies. I love the ones that are more fantasy than sci-fi or steampunk. And the manual, which is pretty cool. It's not as basic as the one for 7. It's actually pretty detailed, pretty nice. This Final Fantasy game also doesn't have the best, well, what's it called? Support from the fans. Okay, what do we have? Vagrant Story, Saga Frontier 2. I'll tell you one thing. I actually have no idea what Saga Frontier is. This is the first time I've seen a 90 Square Enix game that I actually don't know. I'm shocked, but whatever. Parasite Eve 2, own that. Air Guides, I don't own it because the game costs €120. Front Mission 3, was never the biggest fan, gameplay-wise, but I like the aesthetic. Final Fantasy VIII, got it right here. And Chocobo Racing, a game which recently got a remake. And here you can even purchase some figures by Bandai. How surreal is this world? I mean, the figures are cool. I don't know what it is, but this one has some of my favorite designs. Also, look, Columbia Pictures Final Fantasy movie. Apparently, this movie is pretty good. I don't know how true that is. I know that one of them Final Fantasy movies was really good. I don't know which one it was. It could be this one. But yeah, I got all the major Final Fantasy games for the PlayStation 1. The other one I want to get, I don't actually want to get the classic reimaginings for the PS1. I'm not a fan of them. I tried out the old games for the Super Nintendo and NES. I don't like them. But Final Fantasy Tactics is a whole other story. That is one I want to get. This is the last game in PS1 that I want to get for the Final Fantasy series. So let's see what the other shits is what I got from him. Okay, this is cool. This is something that I can't even play. It's solely there for an aesthetic reason. It's in decorative. Those are decorative items. It's all the PlayStation 1 Crash Bandicoot games in Japanese. And the special part about this is that not only are the cases thin as fuck, but this shit has such detailed CDs, such detailed backgrounds behind the CDs, such detailed edges right here. The backgrounds themselves are also hella detailed. And then we get to the manuals. This is where the really juicy part starts. The manuals of the Japanese Crash games are 110% better. I mean, look at this. Look at that. How many of you have even seen these things? Now look at these renders. I mean, I'll admit one thing. Dinkodile looks absolutely fucking retarded, but the rest looks so fucking charming. I'm actually a huge fan of the Japanese Crash. The fuck is this controller? I have never seen. This is a Namco controller. Okay, interesting. Man, there's so much additional bonus art here, it's unbelievable. Like bonus CGI stuff. What is that? I haven't even seen this the first time. Wait, we'll look at this a couple seconds later. Oh! You probably don't know what this means, right? I believe, I'm just saying, I think this is Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. But the Japanese version. At least I think it is. Because it says Universal and Insomniac. Yeah, this is... I didn't know that they actually made Spyro 2 Rip... Oh. Huh, nice. But what is the hell is that? We gotta check this out. It's a Japanese receipt from 2005. I mean, it looks a bit destructed and all, but it's a receipt. I officially went to Japan now. There you have it, folks. I'm more Japanese than you anime cosplayers out there. Yeah. Then we get... This one is the most palest and basic one. I'm not that happy about this one. Crash Bash. The background, not really details, just the disc. Everything you need to know is at the front for whatever reason. I think they lost the budget for it. Oh, fucking Christ. I mean, the CD is still Ace Combat. No, it's still pretty good. Even the manual is like cheap as fuck. It tells you which other games exist. A couple of them characters. If you wanted to see Rillaru in Japanese, here we go. Not that much of a difference. I mean, Dingodile still looks shit. Okay, this is interesting. Verminator, not the Japanese version. I guess this is something that you guys have never seen. Papu Papu. Yeah, I mean, this one is a bit more basic. But it came with this, which I want to show you guys. You will probably ask, what is this thing? What the fuck is that? Is this like for a book for reading? No. For those who don't know, in Japan, if you purchase a CD, at least back in the day, I don't know if it's still a thing, they usually have not the discs just like this. They have like this thing wrapped around it to sell it. Why? I don't know. I only know one thing. When you buy European music, I mean, from Japan, they often have these things on the side which indicate that it's the Japanese version. So why would somebody want to know that? Because often within the music industry, at least in Europe, the Japanese versions have additional exclusive extra songs. Some may ask, that is rather unfair. Why is that the case? It's because in Japan, music discs are way more expensive than they are over here. Music, like having a music hobby is, or at least it was like that. It's a bit of an niche thing. Well, not niche. You know what I mean. It's not that cheap. Here we have possibly My favorite one of the bunch, Crash 2. My mom's talking to someone, I don't know. Yeah, I like this one the most because the disc is the coolest of them. Super fucking colorful. I love the shit out of it. Then you got this awesome background behind the disc. On the manual, you got, if I can even get the shit out. The only thing which could have made this even cooler is if every game came with a poster. I am such a poster nerd. I don't hang them, but I like to collect them. Polar. The Japanese Polar. I should have probably changed the name of this stream because this is like a showcase of pretty much everything. You got this page. I don't know, it's kind of cool. In my opinion. Yeah, here comes the weird parts about Crash 2's manual. It explains the story, but the story makes no sense. Like in the game, nobody tells you this because this is not even canon. It's shown in like this little comic style. It's not even anime or anything. It's like this very crude looking art style, almost childlike, where they kind of explain the Tawna left Crash for Pinstripe. It's ridiculous as fuck. Especially like how Cortex looks down here. If I can even, it's hard to focus, but there we go. He looks so funny on this. Yeah, you got, how many pages are these? 2, 4. 4 pages of story in the manual. And man, I love how this manual looks. The aesthetic is so pleasing. This is so nice. In Europe, America, whatever, these kind of manuals aren't exactly rare. They do exist, but it's not that often that you see them. I got a couple of games which have manuals like these, which look absolutely gorgeous. I mean, stupid English. Yeah, this I've never seen before. It's like a 3D render of how the warp room works. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, here we have all the characters renders, including, for all you lovely furries out there, Tawna 3D render, which looks better than the Western version of her. No, sorry. I don't want to go down this road. Oh yeah, for those wondering what everything is in Crash Bandicoot 2, because the game doesn't explain it, here is an explanation of everything in Japanese. That's it. If you understand the language, that would be easier. Yeah, they actually use the US footage for the game in the manual. Interesting. They even explain you the attacks in full detail, and like, I don't know. This is very great. I like this manual the most out of the Japanese Crash manuals. I don't know, manuals are a great thing, but that's not all. I mean, I did a bit of a weird thing by starting off with 2 first, because now we're going to the first game. Very different cover art, obviously, again, but it's more similar to the one of the West and the one of, okay, one of them was different. I don't know if it was the European one or the American one. Yeah, in Europe, sometimes you find a version of Crash 1 with a completely different cover. I used to have that one as a kid. It came in a disc it came in a package which was as thin as this one. And it looked very interesting. I've never seen that render being used before. But yeah, Japanese also have their own version. This one is a bit more basic than the other ones. I think if I open it up even... Yeah, okay. The most interesting part about this one for me was definitely the disc. Oh my god. The disc is great. It's just great. And you get even the creepiest and weirdest and fucked up fucking render of Rillaroo I've ever seen. Ripperoo. And Crash also looks weird. His first 3D Japanese model looked kinda stupid. If I can say it like that. It looked really stupid. Whoa, fuck, I'm breaking the disc. No. I'm actually trying to open this. Somebody ripped the paper a little bit. But yeah, this is a bit different. I think even here they have like yeah, they have the story explained through comics again. I think they only did it for the first two. I especially like this artwork. Oh, he's waking up at the beach. Yeah, and then it's just regular shit. After that, there's not much interesting. I mean, I like this render of Crash a lot. I don't know why. They even have the wild boar. Interesting. Yeah. I think, yeah. No, here they're using the Japanese gameplay for the screenshots. Yeah. They even explained the islands. Wow. Yeah, I mean, this one is a bit more. Okay, this I like. These 2D drawings of Crash doing some certain tasks. I don't know why. I enjoy the hell out of this. For those who don't know, the first Crash game is one of my favorite ones. Out of the PlayStation 1 era, at least. I like the atmosphere. I like a lot about that game. Unlike many people. Also, here we get to it. Crash 3. The last one. At least, I mean, in the, PlayStation 1 era. The one that had the most hype and the one that came with these 4 papers as well. This explains all the attacks and all, and a couple of the vehicles in the back. This one has the iconic Crash Japan costume, which is 1,000 times better than the one in the West. Sorry, not sorry. I'm not the kind of guy who's always saying, yeah, West is better. I mean, Japanese is better. It's only sometimes, but with Crash, I gotta admit, often enough, the Japanese stuff is kind of cooler. Here, how the Pocket Station works with the game. We got some 8-bit Crash. First of its kind, the Pocket Station itself. Then we got the disc, which is not that cool that I really have to show it, but the Orange Baron is something that I want to show. Look at him. He's giving it like a little salute down here. Hey, the Orange Baron. This is nice. I don't know, they focus a lot on the fucking airplane on this manual here. Okay, let's see what we got. This one is the most colorful one of them all. Like, Jesus Christ, even the warp room they rendered. Like, they made their own render for the warp room. It's insane. This is probably one of the best CGI Cocos from this time, because it doesn't even look bad nowadays. I think this one looks pretty good. And you know me, guys, I'm the kind of guy who fucking hates Coco Bandicoot. It's even written in English, so some of the shit you can read. I like manuals. Yeah, like I said, this one is a bit... Okay, actually, Dingodile still looks shit here, but Entropy and fucking Tiny Tiger looks so cool on this page. I hate when I get a message during a stream, but here we go. It's so cool. Look at Entropy, it looks fucking ace. Tiny Tiger. Nice. Kleiner Tiger, you know? I don't know what the fuck happened in the German version of Crash Team Racing, but for whatever reason they translated his name. They even gave the fucking vehicles names and 3D renders. We got the Orange Baron, the Coco Wing, the Iron Apple. Okay, I think the Japanese people got something wrong here. The Iron Apple version 2. Okay. I wonder what the first version was. The Cocoa Marine and the Deep Apple again. Jesus Christ. Japanese really got that one wrong. Apple. Yeah. Diamond Apple. Oh my god. Yeah, biggest mistake. They call the Wumpas apples. I mean, then again, how do you translate a word which doesn't exist? Yeah, decent manual. The last couple of pages really make this one excellent. And the additional papers are cool, like these ones. But yeah, this is it for the games. I mean, actually, no, there's still some stuffs. Przepostawiasz, na przepostawiasz. Wybierze się do wspomnienia. Yeah, cool. Thank you, Oscar, for this. Let's go to the next couple of things. We're soon gonna end this segment because I think I'm gonna start reading the book. Here is the last of them Japanese games. Crash to Insanity, the Japanese version. What can I say? Pretty cool. Unfortunately, no manual, but the disc looks awesome again. Aesthetically pleasing. I like it. Also, I like how different the Japanese box arts in general look. They're completely black. Then we got Ratchet & Clank 2. Sadly, it's the British version. I hate the British version because it's straight up only in British. I don't even think you can change the language. But the manual is nice because they pay tribute to Sly Cooper, who, in my opinion, is a fucking excellent game franchise. Oh yeah, I remember this. I remember this Edward a lot because I used to have this game back when I was a child. I used to have like a fat box which had all 3 games. Yeah, this manual is actually kind of cool. The only problem I have with it is that it has no color whatsoever. It's like in black and white completely. And here they're advertising a much better game, Ratchet & Clank 3. Yeah, this was a diss towards Ratchet 2. A game I like. Don't get me wrong, I like Ratchet 2, but Ratchet 3 is so much better. Jack Free, a game that I never had on disc. And now I do. I hope, for fuck's sake, this is not in English completely. Coming soon, Jack X. A game that I recently bought. What can I say about the manual? It's kind of standard. Nothing interesting here. The game is the good part. It's probably not my favorite one from the Lions, but whatever. Jack and Daxter 1. I hate this fucking case. Because for whatever reason, they still got the PlayStation logo 2 times here. I don't know what it is. I don't like how they did it. Like 2 times the same logo. But hey, whatever. The game is fucking awesome. I wish it was the version with the complete cover. But whatever. The game is the game. And I want to have it for completion reasons. Sadly, no manual, because I remember the manual of this one being really cool. Even the Japanese version had a really cool manual with a manga inside, you know? Yeah, cool. Now we get to the next 2 games, which are games that I've never played before. Both of them I've never played. Yeah. Spyro Hero's Tale. I've never played this fucking game before in my life. But here I have it now. I can actually attempt playing it. Unfortunately, no manual, so if I want to know something, it seems like I have to rely on the internet. But I like the back of the cover. It's actually pretty stylish, not gonna lie. I'm looking forward to this game. Oh, and here we have it. The game that... Oh my god. One of the worst fucking games ever. I still think it's one of the worst. From watching videos of it, I can already say that. I don't know if playing it will be different. I have the feeling it will damage my PS2 even. Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. Never played this game, but it looks shit. I heard it plays shit. I heard it even smells shit in your room if you like place this disc into the PS2. But it has a manual. And the manual has... Actually, this manual is pretty good. Pretty ace. They put a lot of time and effort for this thing, strangely. Everything has a weird Asian touch to it for whatever reason. It cannot compare to the Japanese manuals, but it's close. Universal Mediterranean, Jesus Christ. Has anybody of you ever went there? It's in Hotel El Paso, Hotel Port Aventura, Costa Caribe. What is this, a Spanish copy or? Well, Costa Rica is not Spanish, you fucking moron. Ugh, UK. Sorry. Advert for Nitro Card, a game that I don't actually own. This is the only Crash game that I don't own. For two reasons. Crash Team Racing is better anyway, and Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled is better anyway. I feel like I would only waste my money if I would buy a Nitro card, but for completion reasons, why not actually? Yeah, this is it for the games. Yeah, there's two more things I want to show that I got from him. This absolutely awesome little guy. Puffin. It's a Puffin statue, which I placed on my window. And this other really cool accessory, it's an emblem. The emblem of Iceland. With a bunch of cool characters on there. We got Gothic Horse and... Yeah, this is nice. Thank you, Oscar, for this. I also placed this one on my window because it just kind of looks stylish. Anything else? Well, I think we can actually move on to the unboxing before we go to the book. The unboxing, guys, today I bought something at the store very casually, very randomly. I didn't plan on buying it, I just went inside and bought it. It's the YuGiOh Speed Duel GX Duel Academy box. What a mouthful of a name. This shit is pretty good, I heard. Like for 30 euros, you get 8 decks with a couple of other little goodies inside. So why wouldn't I buy this? 8 decks, which all represent the characters. Fucking, can I hold it? I actually don't know what to call it in English. Crawler? Black guy? Anime fan? Alexis? Yeah. I don't know. Jess Princeton, his full name I even know. And Jason Shmushi. No, his name is Jaden Smith, the son of Will Smith. But let's open this thing. Let's see. You apparently get like 8 full decks which you can play. Oh yeah, also inside 2 of these because I wanted to buy some extra shit. What's this? Little paper thing. Let's open it. Let's see what we have. Little booster opening. It's not really even a booster. It's like, oh wait, it is a booster. Thought there was only one card in there. Trash. Nah, just kidding. I don't even know what they do. Yeah, it's a bunch of cards. Yeah. Fuck, this is confusing if you do it like this. I don't know if any of these cards are good or not. Next one. Looks cool. Ooh, they look great. I don't know if they're really good or not, but they look pretty good. I don't know, I always liked the basic as fuck YuGiOh card design. But now we get to the real goodies. We got, well, play mat. It's not really play mat, it's just a play paper. And the rule book, Jesus Christ. Oh my god. fuck, this shit is sticky as hell. Hey, not gonna lie, this is pretty dope. We got this character whose name I forgot, and Jaden. Fucking hell, with his fusion hero. Cool. What is this? Yeah. No, cool. I'm totally happy about this. I mean, I need this shit anyway. It's practical if you have one where both sides are printed on it. Now the only problem is, how do I close this shit? I hate opening up these things. Jesus. Wait, let's do it like this. Like that. Like this. Hey! Perfect! There we go. And I got... Jesus, how many did I get? I got 4 of these. What the fuck? Are they all... They're all the same. What the hell? Am I supposed to gift them to someone? Here, have one of these. Take it. No, I mean... Okay, that's just weird. Here we go. Extra booster. Let's see. What do we get here? Ooh, Hydro... Jesus. Oh yeah, this card is... These cards are all from the anime. Ooh! Even the Scottish Goth is here. I mean, even Kuribo is here. Damn. These shine like fucking crazy, man. You probably see it. It's like insane. Even this fusion card. This woman who belongs to Alexis. I forgot her name. The one who belongs to Jaden. I think this one belongs to Jess. This is Kuribo. This is Kuribo, okay. And Kuribo again. Nice cards. I like that they're like glittery. I love this shit. And now cardboard. Okay, and here we have four of these. Huh? This is supposed to be 8 functioning decks. Okay. You sure? This only looks like... Wait a minute. Why is this one thinner than the other ones? Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Huh? Wait, did I read this correct? Includes 8 decks. Yeah, 8 decks are inside. Did I lose them? Okay. Maybe I'm just a stupid bitch. Skill cards. What the hell are skill cards? Man, YuGiOh is always changing the rules and then I don't know what the hell is up. Well, how do I open? There's the opening thing. You're fucking kidding me. They always put this thing there, which should make it easier, but it doesn't make it easier. This is pretty much an explanation of life. Yeah. Dimensions Capsula. You guys remember this one? I think it was the brother from... Sorry if I mispronounce it. Shinron. His fucking name. You know who I mean. This is a classic. I remember this from back in the day when it was first released, actually. Classic card. Oh my god, one of those ugly as fuck original Duel Monsters cards. You got some really cool looking cards as well here. But how are these 8 decks? Well, now the color... Oh, those are all monsters? Okay. What are these? Yeah, spell cards. What? This is so confusing. Oh, look at that. You got some new cards they made for this thing. Look at these cards. They're completely new. They have a new design, all representing something from the anime. Yeah. This looks cool, but I have no idea how this is supposed to be 8 decks. Somebody wrote me a message and I should probably... Uh-oh. I'm such a stupid idiot. I started the stream without my internet on. Now I have an hour of internet wasted on my phone. Jesus. Nah, whatever. Let's get on with the next thing. 8 decks. How are these 8 decks? I think I'm missing out something. Can't be real here. This is the one from Grün and Crowler. I noticed it. There's some cards which belong to the Alexis too, so I think they actually... Yeah. Okay, I get it now. Okay, now I get it. They fused in a bunch of decks into one of these. So here I noticed 3 decks. Here approximately 2, so this makes up 5. 6, 7, and 8, if I'm correct. So this is how it probably has to be. Can't be any other way. Okay. Getting these messages, they're so annoying. Okay, here we go. Next one. I don't know why you can't like turn off the messages for like when you're streaming itself. There should be a feature for when you're streaming. There's no messages. Okay, here we got Jaden's awesome fusion card. It's actually a bunch of fusion cards right here that I hold in my hand. We got the the Thunder Giant, the Rampant Blaster, the Steam Healer. Oh man, it's so refreshing because I mostly play the Digimon card game at the moment, but it's so refreshing to actually hold cards in my hand which are completely in German. So I can actually understand what the fuck I'm doing at times. Ah, so these are all supposed to be fusion cards with additional bonus cards from the anime. Ha! Toon Steam Golem, I think that was his name in English. Another Kugelkuribo. Nice. Yeah. Interesting cards, I gotta admit. I'm sorry if I don't show them all, but it's kind of hard through this perspective. Whatever, it's just, I guess, my reaction itself. For those wondering, I'm not a regular YuGiOh player anymore. I used to be. I actually had some really good decks back in the day, but I stopped when it became a little bit too much for me. When they changed it up and added a lot of shit ton of new things. Ah, this is Jaden's deck. Yeah, I noticed all of these fucking cards. Okay, I haven't seen these before. Are they from Jaden? No, this is not from Jaden. This is the Ojamas. This must be from Jazz Princeton. Huh! Confusing. But this was it, basically. This was the unboxing. Now the only hard part for me is to determine which is a new deck and which one isn't. Or where the fuck am I gonna put all these things in? I'm actually gonna divide them with this now. This is gonna be so clever. Only I can have the idea for this kind of shit. Division 1. Division 2. Division 3. The problem is I fucked up these cards right now. I mixed them all up in the first batch at least. I think that's like not a good thing that I did. Whatever. It's interesting. I still have to Google how exactly I can really do anything with these, but yeah, I think so far it was a nice thing to open up. Here we got another one. I'm gonna add these additional cards on top here. Interesting. I'm gonna leave the box aside now. I'm gonna do something else with it later. But now, guys, I'm gonna clean up this mess, and then anyways, I'm gonna put the shit away, and then we're gonna start reading. An hour is dead. I killed an entire hour now. So let's kill my other time. Let's place this here. Probably have to clean the room tomorrow because it's a mess today. It's a mess. A mess of a room. No, just kidding. These aside, place this here. Place these Japanese things over there. The book we're gonna read. This is a small book, so I choose that one for a stream. I'm not exactly the biggest book reader, so that's why I'm doing this to begin with. My brother write me again. Okay, let's go. Let's read this. Finally, I'm gonna be red now. By the way, I'm completely red and white. As you can see, shirt red. Belly red, no. Pants red. The pants are red. Everything is red. This book is red. With a little bit of blue. No, yeah, let's read it. Let's read it. Let's turn off the TV for the ambience. Actually, let's put on the red lights instead of the blue ones. This is the way. And let's make it a little bit more dim. Exactly. The Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, with additional afterwards by Stephen Kotkin or Stephen Kotkin. I'm gonna read the back as well. In 1848, two young men published what would become one of the defining documents of modern history. The Communist Manifesto rapidly realigned political fault lines all over the world, and its aftershock resonates to this day. In the many years since its publication, no other social program has inspired such divisive and violent debate. Ever since the collapse of the Soviet Union, the world's first regime to adopt the manifesto's tenets, historians have debated its intent and its impact. In the current era of market democracy in Russia and Eastern Europe, nationalism on every continent, and an ever-tightening global economy, does the specter of communism still haunt the world? Were the seeds of communism's ultimate destruction already planted in 1848? Is there anything to be learned from Marx's envisioned utopia? This other part we already read. I don't think we have to. But, guys, like said, my friend said I should probably not read the bonus instruction and the afterwards, but I'm gonna read them too. I feel like the stuff that I have here, I have to read it. Even if it's by some guy who hates communism, by some guy who has a very bad opinion about it. We're gonna read it anyway. You know what they say, respect the bonus material. I mean, they don't say that, but I do. So let's get it going. Communist Manifesto. Let's go. Here is even an short little introduction, description to the characters of the book. Well, the characters. You could say they're the characters of the book, obviously. They're kind of... It's not like Harry Potter, but you know what I mean. I'm just imagining the Karl Marx wizard. With a yellow star, gold what? Okay, sorry. A little bit of humor sprinkled. Let's go. I think this is gonna halt my reading now. Karl Marx played Quidditch. I mean, he was buried in the UK after all. Okay. So. Fuck. Okay. Let's go. Karl Marx, 1880 till 1883, was born in Trier to a German Jewish family that had converted to Christianity. As a student, he was influenced by Hegel's dialectical philosophy, but later reacted against his mentor's idealism and turned instead to the then new socialist movement. The Communist Manifesto, utilizing drafts by his friend Friedrich Engels, was written in Brussels for a German émigré society. The Communist League After taking part in the failed revolutions of 1848, Marx fled to London, where he and his family lived in poverty, alleviated only by Engels' financial help. For some years, Marx was a London correspondent for a New York's newspaper. He spent most of his time, however, researching in the British Museum to document his theories of class struggle and the internal contradictions undermining capitalism. His works include The Poverty of Philosophy, The 18th Brumaire of Louis Bonaparte, sorry, The German Ideology, and a contribution to the critique of political economy. A short little introduction to our wizard. Okay. Friedrich Engels, 1820 till 1895, was born in Germany, the son of a textile manufacturer. After his military training in Berlin, he became an agent of his father's business in Manchester and immersed himself in Chartism and the problems of the new urban proletariat created by the Industrial Revolution. In 1844, the year he met Karl Marx, he wrote The Condition of the Working Class in England. The pair's ideas were incorporated into the Communist Manifesto. After Marx's death, Engels continued his work on Das Kapital and completed it in 1894, a year before his own death. He also wrote The Peasant War in Germany, The Origin of the Family, and Socialism, Utopian and Scientific. Then we have Martin Malia. This is the secret sixth Power Ranger who comes at the end of the story. Did his undergraduate I'm sorry, you know how I am. Did his undergraduate work at Yale and earned his PhD at Harvard. Harvard. He has spent most of his teaching career at the University of California at Berkeley. I don't know how they say it. His principal works include Alexander Herzen and the Birth of Russian Socialism, 1812 till 1855. The Soviet Tragedy, A History of Socialism in Russia, 1917 till 1991. And Russia Under Western Eyes, From the Bronze Horseman to the Lenin Mausoleum. Yeah. Okay. Fuck Harvard, but let's keep going. Stephen Kotkin, bleh. Teaches history and international affairs at Princeton. Jazz Princeton, we already got him before. His books include Armageddon Averted, The Soviet Collapse, 1970 till 2000. An Uncivil Society, 1989, and the implosion of the communist establishment. He formerly directed Princeton's Russian and Eurasian, that's how you say it in German, I know how you say it in English, studies program, 1996 till 2009, and served as the regular business book reviewer for the New York Times, Sunday Business section, 2006 till 2008. He founded runs Princeton's Global History Initiative. Okay, we got an introduction to all our characters. So, here we have it again. Enjoy the book by Oscar. Thanks, I will. Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels with an introduction by Martin Malia. Okay. So now I get Martin Malia's role here. It's a signed classic. No, a signet classic. Or was it signed classic? I don't know. Some words are very weird. Okay. 7-page introduction. No, not 7-page introduction. No, the introduction is much more. It starts at page 7. Oh, Jesus. We're in for a riot. We're gonna read what this hater has to say. Okay, I have to clear my throat, because this will be a long reading now. Because if I want to read the whole thing, this will take a while. Maybe 2 hours, maybe 1 hour, we don't know. Maybe this is a two-parter. What's the time anyway? Just so I know, so I can prepare. 1.5 hours? Let's do it like that. When the Manifesto of the Communist Party was published on the eve of the February Revolution of 1848 in Paris, its principal author, Karl Marx, then barely 30, was convinced that the triumph of his cause was imminent. The proletariat was about to rise the position of ruling class in France, England, and Germany, and its victory worldwide was only a matter of time. 150 years later, of course, these fantasies have proved to be just that. Yet it took almost that long for this to be demonstrated beyond a reasonable doubt. And meanwhile, the communist spectre he invoked in truth never ceased to haunt the world. Sorry, I just want to put my feet somewhere. It's much calmer to read it when you have freedom of feet placement. Place this shit away so I can actually put my feet up here. Not as good as I thought it was. Maybe like this. So it's not good at all, but hey. Oh my god, what kind of word is that? The sesquicentennial of the Manifesto. What the fuck is a sesquicentennial? I'd probably know it if it was the German version, but whatever. Of the Manifesto. Then raises two questions. Why did its prophecies appear so alluring to so many for so long, and why did they ultimately prove to be so hollow, even perverse? Since the spectre has now been cast on the ash heap of history, where Trotsky consigned Bolshevism adversaries in October 1917. The answer is best pursued by tracing its quite unexpected migrations from the advanced. West to the backwards east, and from the revolutionary springtime of 1848 to the twilight of utopia in power in 1989 till 1991. Well, chapter 1, introduction chapter, the path to the Manifesto. It is the convention to explain Marxism's founding document as a response to the human costs of the Industrial Revolution. And this is indeed part of the story, but just as important is the conjunction of the new market society with the ideological heritage of the French Revolution. Nascent industrialism, after all, was at its most advanced in England, whereas the epicenter of emerging socialism was France. It is less often emphasized, however, that the variant of socialism, the Manifesto called Communist, was produced by a pair of intellectuals and that they hailed from then pre-industrial Germany. Hi Oscar, we're reading the introduction part. You have missed a couple of funny things, but it's probably gonna get funnier. Where did I left off? Oh yeah. Of course, Marx himself pointed out that his system was a synthesis of British political economy, French socialism, and German philosophy. Even so, until the discovery of his early manuscripts in the 1930s, it did not become clear that the German element of his amalgam was not only the first in time but the most basic in substance. Briefly put, classical German philosophy was an idealism in which the world conformed the mind, in Kant's phrase. Okay, I already have a little bit of a gripe with this, who wrote this section? This section wrote Martin Malia, I believe. Yeah, Martin Malia. He already did. Let me read your comments real quick. As a Marx, I just came back from hard labor. Exactly. That's the way, man. If anyone's watching, this rare book is signed for me. Yeah, I already mentioned that. I actually showed off all of the presents that you gave me. But yeah, I already have my first gripe with this Martin Malia. He's if I caught his words, no, if I understand his sentences here, I gotta say that I don't like it that he already calls out the German philosophies and writing styles as basically sugar coated. This is what I got from this sentence that we just read. Because he's pretty much saying that other historically well what's the word? Whatever. Other historical personalities such as Kant and Nietzsche are basic authors and that they can't really compete much with the French or the English, well, intellectuals. Maybe I also understood him wrong. Maybe I just understood it wrong, but it is something worth mentioning, in my opinion, because I think this is what he means. It might not be true. Maybe he has a different meaning. Maybe he means it completely different. Maybe I just, you know what they say, read until the end before leaving a comment. I already left my comment before I finished the whole paragraph. But hey, this is my stream. I can say what I want. This Kotkin guy, as far as I understand, calls communism authoritarian in most of his talks. He should the last guy to make an introduction. He didn't wrote the introduction, which is the thing. He wrote the afterwards. Well, at least the book says so. I don't know. Maybe Martin Malia isn't even a real person. Just kidding. I'm making jokes, obviously. But hey, speaking of jokes, when this stream is uploaded, you should definitely watch it from the beginning. There were some really funny parts, especially during the introduction of Karl Marx himself, the character. I mean, he is a character, like I said, in this book at least. He is portrayed as a character by Martin Malia and Stephen Kotkin. In this version of the book, he's a character. But yeah, the Martin guy made the introduction, Kotkin made afterwards. Now I remember. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, let's keep going. We're gonna read now, let's say a couple of pages, and then I'll reflect upon what I just read. Okay. Yeah, I completely stopped the sentence, but anyways. I'm gonna redo the whole sentence again. Briefly put, classical German philosophy was an idealism in which the words confronted the mind, in Kant's phrase, whereas the Anglo-French Enlightenment against which it was reacting was an empiricism in which minds conformed to the world. With Hegel, moreover, philosophy for the first time became historical in its essence, and truth was now a perpetual unfolding rather than a set system. In general terms, Marx sought to make this metaphysical historicism once again empirical by transforming it into a social science in the Anglo-French manner, or what he called historical materialism, which it was. It was a historical materialism. As a left Hegelian, Marx's starting point was Hegel's vision of history as the progression of rationality through dialectical negation and transcendence to absolute self-consciousness, culmination, I'm going to say it like that so that people don't think I mean combination, which also signifies human freedom. Marx then assigned to this process the leveling goals and the commitment to class struggle of revolutionary French socialism. Finally, he made Hegel's conceptual logic materialistic by recasting it in a critical adaptation of the economic categories of Adam Smith and David Ricardo. Yet in the resulting system, the key component, the element which made it a system and gave it its allure, was the overarching logic of German philosophy. Yeah, I gotta say one thing. Another thing, I have my gripes, like I said, with this guy. He uses. Next time I send you my essay, you will read it on stream. Yes, I will. in my essay. Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. What I want to say is I don't like the use of this that much in the writing style of this guy. I don't know if it's just me, but I see it a bit as a way of mocking the writings, the philosophy of Karl Marx. It is kind of unfair, if you know what I mean. For example, he calls his logic logic. Basically, it's not logic, is what he's trying to say. What he's trying to say is that Karl Marx, his yeah, you could say ideology, ideal, Jesus. Some words I really can't say at times. No, his let's say like this. He's basically trying to say that Karl Marx's ideals are illogical and they make absolutely no sense. I mean, what did you write? Let me see. Let's make it a live chat. What? Yeah, here we go. Now I can read the chat. We had the same font. Hey, we had the same font. There we go. Yeah, but this is, I don't know. I already have my 2 gripes with this guy. There is way more logic in Marx talking than some people's. Why is the chat constantly fucking off? Whatever. Let's keep going. Marx effected the synthesis during his first emigration in Paris and Brussels between 1843 and 1846. Simultaneously, he began his collaboration with Engels, who brought to the mix first-hand acquaintance with advanced English industrialism. And so, by 1846, in the German ideology, there you go, their joint settling of accounts with Hegelianism, unpublished until 1932, all the essential elements of future Marxism had been fused. They have been fused like a YuGiOh card. You know, you use this fusion card and then. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry whenever I do things like that. I just like to do that. I just like to do that. I like fusions, but whatever. Sorry, a little cringe moment right there. Let's keep going. We're at the next page. I hope soon we're gonna be over with this guy's writing. Okay. At the same time, the pair were engaged in organizing. Oh no, French words. This is my only weakness. Émigré German workers in Paris, Brussels, and London to prepare for an expected German revolution. In 1847, a secret society of such workers using the ominous name Communist League. Okay, sorry, commissioned Marx. I'm so sorry. I still have to think of the Quidditch playing Karl Marx wizard. Okay. No, okay. Commissioned Marx and Engels to write the programmatic statement. Seizing the occasion, Marx condensed his new theory into shock phrases as a revolutionary Cateism? Cateism? Is that the word? Never heard it before. It's kind of like Fidelity, but whatever. The result was that marvelously timed masterpiece of propagandistic literature, which was the ManiPesto. Ooh. This is the third major hole this guy fell in. The ManiPesto is, he pretty much just stated that the ManiPesto is nothing but a propaganda book, you know? Yeah, this guy, I'm not too fond of him. Sorry, this shit was stuck between me. Let's throw it up there. I gotta read. I mean, drink. This reading makes me thirsty. You know what's funny? Don't know what he exactly means by propaganda book. Materialism. No, just well, actually, if you want to be honest, you could call the book itself materialistic product, but that's for another time. I don't want to speculate too much. You can't live in the world without a little bit of materialism. In a way, it is to encourage people to get in communism, but it's not this propaganda that we know. Waldquelle materialism. Yes, what? Man, you wrote it pretty well. Waldquelle. Okay. 2 people watching. Hello, we're reading. So, time for the next. I kind of want to keep going with this. The manifesto's aim was to promote a second coming of the French Revolution in socialist. Another one of these stupid French words. Guise. An aim common to a range of radical sects of the 1840s. The route to their ambition ran as follows. The revolution of 1789 till 93 had, for the first time in history, posed the question of democracy. In its modern sense, that is, a polity founded on the proposition that all men, simply by virtue of being human, are equal before the law and endowed with full rights of participation in government. These principles are summed up as the rights of man and the citizen and universal suffrage. The events of 1789 did not, of course, succeed in institutionalizing universal, in Breslett's manhood, suffrage democracy, but this is not to say it failed. As is often averred, never heard of that word, averred. Yeah, I know what it means, because logically this would mean something like it's not often referred to, I believe, is what avert really means. It had accomplished the epochal feat, that's how we pronounce it, of mortally wounding Europe millennial age. Oh my god, another French word. An ancien regime, thus putting egalitarian democracy at the heart of the agenda of modernity. After 2 centuries of modernity, it is difficult to grasp the full otherness of the old regime. It was a world where all authorities came from above, from God and or nature, and where society was legally divided into unequal hereditary orders or estates, and economically into closed craft guilds. Modern democracy was born by inverting this sacred corporate order, thereby making the people sovereign in place of the former absolute monarchy. And once this had been accomplished in the largest state of Europe, the old regime was menaced everywhere else. Thoughts? This guy still uses a bit too much of this. Still kind of pissing me off, but yeah. So far, he hasn't really, like for this part that I just read, he hasn't said anything where I can really make a big comment on. I think the comments I made before about this guy's writing pretty much still apply for this as well. Let's keep going. At the same time, the dynamic unleashed by 1789 threatened its proudest accomplishment, the liberal individualism enshrined in its new civic rights. For replacing the society of orders by one of citizens had not made man equal in fact. Rather, it had laid bare a new hierarchy. How do you say that word in English? hierarchy, like in German you say Hierarchie, founded on differences of wealth and inequality, all the more invidious since it was cloaked in nominal equality. The first became apparent when following the defeat of the Jacobins' Democratic Republic by the Thermidorian reaction of 1794, the Conspiracy of the Equals, of Gracchus Babeuf, I don't know, schemed to establish a leveling dictatorship of the dispossessed. In bracelets, Marx probably took the title "Manifesto" from the programmatic statement of 1796. The real turn towards the radicalism beyond liberal individualism, however, was the Paris Revolution of July 1830. This workers' revolt was immediately captured by the upper classes who established the bourgeois monarchy of Louis Philippe, with a property suffrage enfranchising no more than a fraction of the popularity. I think that's what the next word is. Population, sorry. Um, any comments? Show me the whole shit, bitch. Hierarchy, that's how you would say it. Afterwards, fuckers suck. That's why I crossed them on. Hierarchy is how you say that's not even how you write it. I need to teach you some of those French words. Fucking French. I know, well, some of them I know, but these are a bit hard. I hate French. You know how I am. I hate this fucking language to begin with. It's not as superior as German, not as superior as Spanish, even. I mean, for all things, Spanish is pretty easy to. Spanish words are easy to pronounce. That's one thing I want to give credit. Anyways, where the fuck did I left off? Oh yeah, here. Oh my god, how much is left? Shit, this introduction is long. I partially want to skip it, but then again, do you hate the government? Superior German sounds kind of like something Adolf would say. Well, you know, the German language is pretty fucking. I mean, vocabulary wise, it's definitely much better than English or, well, basically English. Yeah, I mean, what the fuck? Okay, let's keep going. It was now quite painfully clear to the people. What people? What does that even mean? People? What are they? Monkey human bitches? What? People. What is he trying to say? That these people are aliens from outer space? This is completely unnecessary for this sentence. People. Or is he trying to say they're just materialistical people? My god. This guy, I told you before, this guy is a Harvard student, so he can't really be smart. In Harvard is so fucking overrated. So many fucking morons can go there and just immediately graduate, especially if you're a sports student. Jesus Christ. And if you're like a philosopher or science or whatever, you can make any single little breakthrough or any basic little writing, and then you already have like a PhD in it. Like, you see how crazy that is? Some Americans get the PhD from Harvard and they don't even know that the UK is a fucking European country. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, wait, I got carried away. It was now quite painfully clear to the people that equality before the law did not produce genuine human equality. Behind the citizen, there in fact stood merely the bourgeois, true human, true human emancipation. This French fucks me up so much that I'm now fucking English as well. consequently could be achieved only through some measure of equalization of wealth, if necessarily forced. Accordingly, the period 1830 till 48 became the seed time of modern socialism. This movement was mostly devoted to producing social harmony, not class struggle as in the cooperative schemes of Robert Owen and Charles Fourier, the technocratic planning of Henry de Saint-Simon. Well, this one I think I pronounced right actually. Bourgeoisie. Jesus, fuck this language. Whatever. Where did I left off? Yeah. Henry de Saint-Simon, the welfare state proposal of Louis Blanche, or the communitarian communism of Etienne Cabet, positions Marx and Engels branded utopia. But there was a revolutionary socialism as well as in the insurrectionary schemes of Auguste Blanque, which harkened back to Babeuf. Sorry, and were also called communist. Communist. Moreover, 1789 had created the belief that revolutions are the way history happens, the locomotives of history, in Marx's metaphor, and this belief was especially appealing to workers expelled from their guilds into the laissez-faire economy of liberals. Thus, since 1830, sorry, now my French accent is coming through, had fallen pitifully short of democratic expectations, the left now awaited a sequel, but on the higher level of social 1789. Although such expectations were strongest in France, they were also widespread in the nascent English labor movement called Chartism, which sought to extend the parliamentary franchise reform of 1832 all the way to universal suffrage. In effect, a revolution by legal means. Okay, now let's stop right there for a second. I want to read the comments. Why do I always have to click? Close enough, close enough. I'll teach you later on. Oh well. Do I really need to be taught? I hate French anyway. I don't want to know it. Teach me Italian. You probably don't want to. Whatever. It was in this atmosphere of millennial anticipation that Marx formulated his system. His point of departure, however, was not the pauperism spawned by the new industry in bracelets, which as yet hardly existed in Germany, but the degrading spectacle of Germany's backwardness vis-à-vis France and England, and this lag he defined above all in political terms. Germany still lived in the Middle Ages, under the monarchical and aristocratic old regime unchanged by the partial emancipation that France and England had achieved in 1830-32. However, since the aunt of modernity had now been upped from political democracy to socialism, Marx opined that Germany need to repeat 1789. She could telescope her she could telescope her she could telescope her bourgeoisie bo, bourgeoisie and socialist revolutions into a single permanent revolution, as he called it in 1850, and he emphasized the centrality of the combined revolution to his system by concluding the ManiPesto with the now odd-sounding claim that the communists turned their attention chiefly to Germany. Thus, Marxism was born not as critique of mature capitalism, as is usually supposed, but as the fury of revolution to overcome German backwardness. Mhm. Such a revolution was possible, first because France would fire up the socialist locomotive and Germany could simply hitch onto it as it ran. Second, it was possible because Germany's very backwardness conferred on her one great advantage. The poverty of her real life had given her a superior capacity of philosophical understanding. Germany thus constituted a theoretical consciousness of what more advanced nations had already done in politics. This superiority would permit German socialists to give their impending revolution conscious direction to the highest goals of history. But who would furnish the sorry? Who would furnish the revolution's muscle? Marx's answer, of course, was the proletariat, but not because it was already an actor on the German scene. Rather, he established the proletariat mission by theoretical deduction from his concept of freedom. This concept, however, had nothing to do with what John Stuart Mill or Alexis de Tocqueville understood by freedom, that is, freedom from external coercion. It was rather the freedom that Hegel equated with humanity achievement and the pinnacle of its development of absolute self-consciousness, namely full understanding of the laws of reason in history. When Marx first stood Hegel on his head in the German ideology, the formula came out as follows: the human condition is first one of the alienating dependence on nature, which man invents tool to master. Technological development, however, leads to a division of labor, which creates the further alienation of humanity, split into wearing social classes, thereby sundering the primal unity of the species. Marx's idea of emancipation from these dehumanizing forms of servitude therefore does not mean individual freedom. It means rather liberation of the species over the long haul of history from the socio-economic shackles of its own creation. The proletariat is the agent of this emancipation because it is the only class whose particular interest is synonymously with the general interests of humanity. And it is charged with this supreme mission precisely because it is the most exploited and hence most dehumanizing class in existing society. Okay, I gotta stop right there. What is that? Oh wait, I have to write good night to my family. There we go. There we go. Okay. I gotta make a little comment. I hate this guy. He's constantly just what is that word? Throwing Germany back. Or in fact anybody who is German. I think this guy in general has a bit of a problem with German people. Not only does he call them basically deranged in a way, but he also calls I mean, yes, they are a bit backwards, at least at that time. But he makes it sound like it's that the ideas of Marx are one of the most terrible things that ever came to be. But if you think about it, this guy just sounds terribly butthurt that he never wrote anything like the Communist Manifesto. It definitely sounds like this guy has a problem with the Communist Manifesto. Okay, cool. People can have their problem with the Communist Manifesto, but calling it completely logicless, well, not logic, that's not the word, illogical, um, makes no sense. Makes no sense. In my opinion, it makes no sense. Okay, let's say it like that so that I don't offend anybody. I mean, I want to offend people who are kind of dumb, but yeah, what do I have to say? Not the social programs today and capitalist governments came because of socialist demands. Yes. I get one thing. That makes sense. This communist movement was definitely inspired by the socialist movement of France, England, mainly France. But calling it, well, the guy pretty much called it the wrong way of partaking into this socialist system. But I personally don't see it as the wrong way. I see it as a pretty good way. I could give off some examples now, but I think we will keep that for later. Because makes me think a little bit, these statements from this guy. Not sure what to think of them exactly. Okay, let's keep going. And it is charged with this supreme mission precisely because it is the most exploited and hence most dehumanizing class in existent society. As Marx put it on first mentioning in the proletariat in 1843, it is the universal class because its sufferings are universal. True. He thus defined the proletariat in the first instance not as the body of factory workers, but as the metaphysical demiurge destined to liberate the species from social inequality. It was as the victim class that it became the redeemer class, the class to end all classes. Well, I wish I had somebody in my school who would constantly end the classes. Marx's revolution would occur when the proletariat achieved consciousness of its dehumanizing plight, and so also of its emancipatory mission. Thus, this provincial German ideology freshly arrived in Paris, did not hesitate to proclaim, philosophy is the head of this emancipation and the proletariat is the heart. Thereby he made the proletariat the bearer of universal reason, and his communism became not just equality, but the rational ordering of all human life. And his dialectical logic rolled on. The social redemption of humanity would be produced by the very process of dependence that defined its historical way of the cross, for in Marx's appropriation of Hegel's para-Christian perspective, alienation is self-enriching. The species therefore must suffer the degradation of ancient slavery. Feudal serfdom and wage labor exploitation to build the productive capacity to free itself not only from the blind forces of nature but also from the class divisions with the body socials. Next page. I'm what was that thing? Soviet Union already a good example in my view. Let's keep going. Only thus would man at last become his own master, exercising rational control over both his natural and his social environment. And how concretely would mankind reach this ultimate state? Marx's answer was by destroying the false gods of liberal individualism, private property, and the market. Yet at the same time, he stood in never-ending awe of the technological miracles the bourgeoisie had wrought, as well as of its Promethean, that's a normal word, Promethean feat of organizing the world into a single market. Here indeed were elements of rationality that need only be appropriated by the proletariat to create the supreme rationality of communism. Of communism! Because it's written with an exclamation mark. The task of the impending proletarian revolution, therefore, was to liberate the wonder working machine of modern industry from the fetters of bourgeois property relations. I hate this word, and I hate that this guy constantly uses it. Thus, the Marxist synthesis is composed basically of two alluring components. On the one hand, there is the logic of history leading implacably to the point where the bourgeoisie produces its own gravediggers. In the form of proletariat, and the struggle between the two classes is set forth dramatically in part 1 of the ManiPesto, Bourgeois and Proletarians. Its most famous section and the only one read closely today. On the other hand, there is the revolutionary consciousness that the class struggle generates in the proletariat, and the communist goals which that consciousness is expecting to formulate are spelled out in part 2, Proletarians and Communists, a section now treated as secondary thought. Though it in fact points the way to Marxism through historical destiny. Sorry. These goals are first to seize political power in order to wrest by degrees all capital from the bourgeoisie, and then to centralize all instruments of production in the hands of the state, i.e., of the proletariat organized as the ruling class. All production, moreover, would be concentrated in the hands of the vast association of the whole nation, with industrial armies, especially for a ag- agriculture. Agrarkultur, okay. And the common plan. In short, the theory of communism may be summed up in the single sentence: abolition of private property. Its in bracelets, its additional, apparently moderate goals, such as the income tax, were in fact also revolutionary at the time. And what is vague in places of the manifesto was clarified later in Capital, also das Kapital, which offers one long exhortation of commodity product of exchange. Bracelets, i.e., manufacture for the market. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. Manufacture for the market, and of the blood-stained medium of profit for capital accumulation, money. Marx's concrete program for human emancipation then is nothing less than the abolition of private property, profit, the market, and indeed money. And it is necessary to insist on this fact, for many commentators have refused to recognize it, holding that Marx, unlike utopian socialists, offered no vision of the future, but only a scientific knowledge of history's laws. The reason for this strange blindness, of course, is that once Stalin implemented that very program by mass violence, many Westerners backed away from it, either preferring to believe that some other Bolshevik could have built a better socialism, or choosing to read his doctrine only as critique of capitalist society, as in the Marxism without the proletarian of the Frankfurt school. In Marx himself, however, it is quite clear that human emancipation requires the absolute negation of private property, profit, and the market. Only once the victorious proletariat had implemented such full non-capitalism would society be liberated from both class inequality and state coercion. Only then would the world at last function rationally, like one immense factory, as human labor would produce not capital but the flowering of the species. Hitherto alien, alien, alienated creative potential. Yet there is mystery at the heart of the manifesto. It was issued in the name of a party, and its proposal throughout are attributed to the communists. But who belongs to this party? The anonymous communists claim they do not constitute a separate organization, but have the same aims as all other proletarian parties. In fact, the only definition given of the party is that it articulates theoretical conclusion, which merely express actual relations springing from an existing class struggle, from a historical movement going on under our very eyes. Hence, it is ideological commitment, not social class, that defines the manifestos communists. As of 1848, only Marx and Engels could qualify as members. What Marx is saying then is that this theory are at once in brackets, the end product of the objective logic of history, and in brackets B, the voice of the proletariat's subjective revolutionary consciousness. Thus, although he always insisted that the emancipation of the working class must be conquered by the working classes themselves, he was equally adamant that his theories were what the proletariat would necessarily arrive at once they achieved full class consciousness. Marxism is thus a circular, self-verifying system like Hegel's, and this explains the demolition of all rival socialist ideologies in Part 3 of the Manifesto, Socialist and Communist Literature. Though these polemics are now usually discounted as mere relics, in fact, they establish an abiding trait of Marxism. They constitute a rhetorical purge in defense of the Manifesto as the one true teaching, a doctrine for the end of history. And that is the end of the first chapter of this introduction. Well, let me read some sentence. By the way, do you know who the both of thee are? I will pay you 5 you if you read all the 5 ones. That's a deal. That's a deal. Give me those 200 euros. I'll buy this Capital and I'll read it. But you probably want me to read the English version. Okay. That is the bigger challenge for me because in English I don't understand a lot. I also don't understand a lot in French, obviously, because we translate everything in German, which is the problem. Well, that's not actually a problem, it's a good thing, but it's just like I don't understand much at times, thanks to English. Good example, when I play a card game and the cards are in English, I sometimes misunderstand what they mean. It's just, that's the way it is. In this book, it's different. I think I completely understand what the guy is talking about and what the hell he's rambling about, more or less. Yeah, first chapter is over. The guy pretty much just, capital is more difficult because of its contents. Well, the English version is more difficult, I can say. I think the German one I wouldn't have much of a problem with, because then I would understand it completely, you know. It's written in my language. But if you want me to read it in Bosnian, fuck off. No, I wouldn't understand a single thing you're saying. I tried to read the Quran in Bosnian, and I didn't understand a single thing. Not a single thing. I also read a bunch of other books in Bosnian, and I barely understood anything. I sometimes read Bosnian Wikipedia pages, and I don't understand what the fuck is written. Am I saying that I'm stupid? Not really. I mean, yeah, I am, but whatever. Now we have how many chapters left? Oh my god. I mean, we're close to the actual manifesto. It's not that many pages anymore. It's only 2 more chapters and then we're finished with the introduction, which, in my opinion, if I'm honest, I think it is really unnecessary, this introduction. Do people really need an explanation of what the manifesto is trying to say? I don't think so. From my knowledge, it's pretty clear what the manifesto is trying to say. But yeah, I don't think we really need an introduction. Okay, here's the thing. Skip introduction or continuing with this bullshit? I mean, I did the first chapter. I mean, that's... At least I did something of this. For the afterwards especially, I'll probably only read the first chapter. Maybe not even the first, maybe only half of that. It depends. If the guy is pissing me off a lot, then I'm not gonna read it. So, skip or continue? I'd skip this bullshit. Okay, let's get to the juicy parts. Okay, goodbye, Martin Malia, you idiot. I don't know, I feel like he's gonna repeat himself constantly if I would keep reading it, because he already started to repeat himself constantly and constantly. Whatever. Let's keep going. Okay. Finally, we came to the actual manifesto by skipping the bullshit. And I'm trying to put my feet up here to have like a very... Well, this is pretty good. I'm gonna keep it like this. Sorry. Let's read our favorite book by our favorite wizard. Preface to the German edition of 1872. The Communist League, an international association of workers, which could of course be only a secret one, under the conditions obtaining at the time, commissioned us, the undersigned, at the Congress held in London in November 1847, to write for publication a detailed theoretical and practical program of the party. Such was the origin of the following manifesto, the manuscript of which travelled to London to be printed a few weeks before the February Revolution. First published in German, it has been republished in that language in at least 12 different editions in Germany, England, and America. It was published in English for the first... What is that? That doesn't sound like the Communist Manifesto. Is this really the book? Yes, it is the book. Okay, sorry. Yeah, it was published in English for the first time in 1850 in the Red Republican, London, translated by Miss Helen Macfarlane, and the 1871. In at least 3 different translations in America. The French version first appeared in Paris shortly before the June insurrection of 1848, and recently in Le Socialiste of New York. A new translation is in the course of preparation. A Polish version appeared in London shortly after it was first published in German. A Russian translation was published in Geneva in the 60s. Into Danish, to it was translated shortly after its first appearance. However, much the state of things may have altered. During the last 25 years, the general principles laid down in this manifesto are on the whole as correct today as ever. Here and there some details might be improved. The practical application of the principles will depend, as the manifesto itself states, everywhere and at all times on the historical condition for the time being existing. And, for that reason, no special stress is laid on the revolutionary measure proposed at the end of section 2. That passage would in many respects be very differently worded today. In view of the gigantic strides of modern industry since 1848 and of the accompanying improved and extended organization of the working class. In view of the practical experiences gained first in the February Revolution and then still more in the Paris Commune, where the proletariat of the first time held political power for 2 whole months, this program has in some details become antiquated. One thing especially was proved by the Commune, viz. That the working class cannot simply lay hold of the ready-made state machinery and wield it for its own purpose. See the Civil War in France, address of the General Council of the International Working Men's Association, 1871, where this point is further developed. Further, it is self-evident that the criticism of socialist literature is deficient in relation to the present time, because it comes down only to 1847. Also, that the remarks on the relation of the communists to the various opposition parties, section 4, although in principle still correct, yet in practice are antiquated, because the political situation has been entirely changed and the progress of history has swept from all of the from what where did I left off? Swept from off the earth the greater portion of the political parties there enumerated, but then in manifesto has become historical documents which you have no longer any right to alter. A subsequent edition may perhaps appear with an introduction bridging the gap from 1847 to the present day, but this reprint was too unexpected to leave us time for that. Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, London, 24th of June 1872. Okay, let's read the comments, because we're now actually getting to the real book. This was more or less a secondary introduction. Red clothes for this occasion, I see. Yeah. You can be prefaces to it. They aren't actually manifesto, just at a certain version, but you can still read it, I guess. So where does it actually start? Oh, this is a preface as well. Russian edition, preface to the German edition. German edition. Preface to the German edition. Preface to the German edition. Preface to the... What the fuck? Where does the book even start? Preface to the English edition. Preface for the English edition. Ah, here we go. Finally. Jesus, this book is smaller than I thought. So wait, let me see something real quick. Whoopsala. No way. This is the entire book? It's even smaller than I initially thought it was. Okay, let's begin. Let's make this like the rappers do, you know, like this. Oh shit. No, sorry, I had to sprinkle a bit of comedy in there. Manifesto of the Communist Party. A spectre is haunting Europe, the spectre of communism. All the powers of old Europe have entered into a holy alliance to exorcise the spectre. Pope and Tsar Metternich and Guizot, French radicals and German police spies. Where is the party in opposition that has not been decried as communists by its opponents in power? Where is the opposition that has not hurled back the branding reproach of communism against the more advanced opposition parties as well as against the reactionary adversaries? Two things result from this fact. One, communism is already acknowledged by all European powers to be itself a power. Two, it is high time that communists should openly, in the face of the whole world, publish their views, their aims, their tendencies, and meet this nursery tale of the spectre of communism with a manifesto of the party itself. To this end, communists of various nationalities have assembled in London and sketched the following manifesto to be published in English, French, German, Italian, Flemish, and Danish language. Flemish, okay. By the way, fun fact. This has nothing to do with the manifesto. I just wanted to say it. The country that is most similar to Bosnia in a political structure is actually Belgium. Okay, let's keep going. Bourgeoisie and proletarians. The history of oh Jesus, this is so small Britain. Okay. The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles. By oh my god, this is so tiny. I have to go very close. I hate it when shit is written very tiny. By bourgeoisie meant the class of modern capitalists, owners of the means of social production and employees of wage labor. By proletariat, the class of modern wage laborers who, having no means of production of their own, are reduced to selling their labor power in order to live. Note by Engels, English edition. That is all written history in 1847, the prehistory of society. The social organization existing previous to recorded history was all but unknown. Since the Haxthausen August von 19 discovered common ownership of land. Jesus, this is so exhausting to read this small little section. I keep losing myself. Common ownership of land in Russia. Maurer George Ludwig von proved it to be the social foundation from which all Teutonic races started in history, and by, village communities were found to be or to have been the primitive form of society. Everywhere, from India to Ireland, the inner organization of this primitive communistic society was laid bare, in its typical form by Morgan, Lewis Henry. Crowning discovery of the true nature of the genes and its relation to the tribe. With the dissolution of these primeval communities, society begins to be differentiated into separate and finally antagonistical classes. I have attempted to retrace this process of dissolution in Der Ursprung der Familie, des Privateigentums und des Staats. In English, The Origin of the Family, Private Property and the State. Second edition, Stuttgart, 1886, noted by Engels. Okay, I hope there are not that many of these small parts. Okay, seems to be one of the only parts. Okay, now we can finally read like human beings. Let's see if anybody commented. It's much shorter than it looks. Oh yeah. Yeah, Birds and Proletarians. That's the one I'm in right now. There. So yeah, okay. Morgan Freeman and slave, patrician and plebeian, lord and serf, guild master and journeyman, in a word, oppressor and oppressed, stood in constant opposition to one another, carried on an uninterrupted, now hidden, now open fight, a fight that each time ended either in a revolutionary reconstitution of society at large or in the common ruin of the contending classes. Gotta go to the shop real quick. Okay. In the earlier epochs of history, we find almost every. Okay, no, I thought this was a typo, but it isn't. Find almost everywhere a complicated arrangement of society into various orders, a manifold gradation of social rank. In ancient Rome, we have patricians, knights, plebeians, slaves. In the Middle Ages, feudal lords, vassals, guild masters, journeymen, apprentices, serfs, which I think we already had. In almost all of these classes, again, subordinate gradations. The modern bourgeoisie society that has sprouted from the ruins of feudal society, has not done away with class antagonism. It has, but established new classes, new conditions of oppression, new forms of struggle in the place of the old ones. Our epoch, the epoch of the bourgeoisie, possesses, however, this distinctive feature. It has simplified the class antagonism. Society as a whole is more and more splitting up into two great hostile camps, into two great classes directly facing each other, bourgeoisie and proletariat. From the serf of the Middle Ages sprang the chartered burghers, bourgeois of the earliest town. From these, what is this? Guildmaster. This is a full member of the Guildmaster. Okay, well, don't have to explain Guildmaster to me, but I want to know what some of these other terms mean, like the one from Rome. Burgesses, the first elements of the bourgeoisie, were developed. Discovery of America, the rounding of the Cape opened up fresh ground for the rising bourgeoisie. The East Indian and Chinese markets, the colonization of America, trade with the colonies, the increase in the means of exchange and in commodities generally gave to commerce, to navigation, to industry, an impulse never before known, and thereby to the revolutionary element in the tottering feudal society a rapid development. The feudal system of industry, in which industrial production was monopolized by closed guilds, now no longer sufficed for the growing wants of the new market. The manufacturing system took its place. The guild masters were pushed aside by the manufacturing middle class. Division of labor between the different corporate guilds vanished in the face of division of labor in each single workshop. Meantime, the markets kept ever growing, the demand ever rising. Even manufacture no longer sufficed. Thereupon, steam and machinery revolutionized industrial production. The place of manufacture was taken by the giant modern industry, the place of the industrial middle class by industrial millionaires, the leaders of whole industrial armies, the modern bourgeoisie. Modern industry has established the world market for which the discovery of America paved the way. This market has given the immense development to commerce, to navigate, to communication by land. This development has in its turn reacted on the extension of industry. And in proportion as industry, commerce, navigation, railways extend, in the same proportion the bourgeoisie developed, increased its capital, and pushed it to the background, every class handed down from the Middle Ages. We see, therefore, how the modern bourgeoisie is itself the product of long course of development, of a series of revolutions in the modes of production and of exchange. Each step in the development of the bourgeoisie was accompanied by a corresponding political advance of the class. An oppressed class under the sway of the feudal nobility, an armed and self-governing association in the medieval commune. Here, independent urban republic, as in Italy and Germany. There, taxable further state of monarchy, as in France. Afterwards, in the period of manufacture proper, serving either the semi-feudal or the absolute monarchy as a counterpoise against the nobility, and in fact cornerstone of the great monarchies in general. The bourgeoisie has at last since the establishment of modern industry and of the world market conquered for itself in a modern representative state exclusive political sway. Okay, stopping right there. I need to drink water. My neck is killing me right now from all this reading. I'll be honest with you guys. I have a bit of a hard time to understand this. And yes, it is because it's written in English. I have my trouble with the English, like like reading English and completely understanding everything. Like I said, I probably have to read the manifesto at one point in German for sure, just to understand it a bit better. Oops. So if there's any comments. Okay. I don't think I will read everything today. I will keep some rest for a different time, for a secondary stream. But did I even left off? Okay, here. The executive of the modern state is but a committee of managing the common affairs of the whole bourgeoisie. The bourgeoisie historical has played a most revolutionary part. The bourgeoisie, wherever it has got the upper hand, has put an end to all feudal patriarchy, idyllics, relations. It has pitilessly torn asunder the motley feudal ties that bound man to his natural superiors. It has left no other nexus between man and man than naked self-interest, than callous cash payment. It has drowned the most heavenly ecstasies of religious fervor, of chivalrous enthusiasm, of Philistine sentimentalism. In the icy water of egotistical calculations, it has resolved personal worth into exchange value, and in place of the numberless indefeasible chartered freedom has set up that single uncautionable freedom, free trade. In one word, for exploitation, veiled by religious and political illusions, it has substituted naked, shameless, direct, brutal exploitations. The bourgeoisie has stripped off its halo every occupation hitherto honored and looked up to with reverent awe. It has converted the physician, the lawyer, the priest, the poet, the man of science into its paid wage laborers. The bourgeoisie has torn away from the family its sentimental veil and has reduced the family relation to a mere money relation. The bourgeoisie has disclosed how it came to pass. That the brutal display of vigor in the Middle Ages, which reactionaries so much admire, found its fitting complement in the most slothful indolence. It has been the first to show what man's activity can bring about. It has accomplished wonders far surpassing Egyptian pyramids, Roman aqueducts, and Gothic cathedrals. It Gothic? No, it has conducted expeditions that put in the shade all former exoduses of nations and crusades. The bourgeoisie cannot exist without constantly revolutionizing the instruments of production, and thereby the relation of production, and with them the whole relations of society. Conservation of the old modes of production in unaltered form was, on the contrary, the first condition of existence for all earlier industrial classes. Constant revolutionizing the production, uninterrupted disturbance of all social condition, everlasting uncertainty and agitation distinguish the bourgeois epoch from all earlier ones. All fixed, fast, frozen relations with their train of ancient and venerable prejudice and opinions are swept away, all new formed ones become antiquated before they can ossify. All that is solid melts into air, all that is holy is profaned, and man is at last compelled to face with sober senses his real conditions of life and his relations with this kind. The need of a constantly expanding market for its products chases the bourgeoisie over the whole surface of the globe. It must nestle anywhere, everywhere, settle everywhere, establish connections everywhere. The bourgeoisie has through its exploitation of the world market given the cosmopolitan character of production and consumption in every country to the great wait, what is that? Chagrin of reactionaries. It has drawn from under the feet of industry the national ground on which it stood. All old established national industries have been destroyed or are daily being destroyed. They are dislodged by new industries whose introduction become a life and death question for all civilized nations, by industries that no longer work up indigenous raw material, but raw material drawn from the remotest zones. Industries whose products are consumed not only at home but in every quarter of the globe, in place of the old wants, satisfied by the production of the country. We find new wants required for the satisfaction the products of distant land and climes, in place of the old local and national seclusion and self-sufficiency. We have intercourse in every direction, universal interdependence of nations. And as in material, so also in intellectual production. The intellectual creations of individual nations become common property. National one sidedness and narrow mindedness become more and more impossible, and from the numerous national and local literatures there arise a world literature. The bourgeoisie, by the rapid improvement of all instruments of production, by the immensely facilitated means of communication, draws all, even the most barbarian nations, into civilization. The cheap prices of its commodities are the heavy artillery with which it batters down all Chinese walls, with which it forces the barbarians' intensely obstinate hatred of foreigners to capitulate. It compels all nations on pain of extinction to adopt the bourgeois mode of production. It compels them to introduce what it calls civilization into their midst, i.e., to become bourgeois themselves. In one word, it creates a world after its own image. The bourgeoisie has subjected the country to the rule of its town. It has created enormous cities, has greatly increased the urban population as compared with the rural, and has thus rescued a considerable part of the population from the idiocy of rural life. Just as it has made the country dependent on the towns, so it has made barbarian and semi-barbarian countries dependent of the civilized ones. Nations of peasants are nations of bourgeoisies, the East on the West. The bourgeoisie keeps more and more doing away with the scattered state of the population of the means of production and the property. It has agglomerated population, centralized means of production. It has concentrated property in a few hands. The necessary consequence of this was political centralization. Independent or but loosely connected provinces with separate interests, laws, governments, and systems of taxation became lumped together into one nation, with one government, one code of laws, one national class interest, one frontier, and one custom tariff. The bourgeoisie, during its rule of scarce 100 years, has created more massive and more colossal productive forces than have all preceding generations together. Subjection of nature's force to man, machinery, application of chemistry to industry and agriculture, steam navigation, railways, electric telegraphs, clearing of whole continents of cultivation, canalization of rivers, whole population conjured out of the ground. What early centuries had even presentiment that such production forces slumbered in the lap of social labor. We see then the means of production and of exchange on whose foundation the bourgeoisie builds itself up, were generated in feudal society. At a certain stage in the development of these means of production and of exchange, the conditions under which feudal society produces an exchange. The feudal organization of Agriculture and manufacturing industry, in one word, the feudal relation of property, became no longer compatible with the already developed productive forces. They became so many fetters, they had to be burst asunder. They were burst asunder. Into their place stepped free competition, accompanied by a social and political constitution adapted to it, and by the economic and political sway of the bourgeoisie class. A similar movement is going on before our own eyes. Modern bourgeois society, with its relation of production, of exchange, and of property, a society that has conjured up such gigantic means of production and of exchange, is like the sorcerer who is no longer able to control the power of its netherworld, whom he has called up his spells. For many a decade past of history of industry and commerce is but the history of the revolt of modern productive forces against modern condition of production, against the property relations that are the conditions for the existence of the bourgeoisie and of its rule. It is enough to mention the commercial crisis that by their periodical return put the existence of the entire bourgeoisie society on its trial. Each time more threateningly in these crises a great part not only of the existing products but also of the previously created productive forces are periodically destroyed. In these crises there breaks out an epidemic that in all earlier epochs would have seemed an absurdity, the epidemic of overproduction. Society suddenly finds itself put back into a state of momentary barbarism. It appears as if a famine and universal war of devastation has cut off the supply of every means of subsistence. Industry and commerce seem to be destroyed. And why? Because there is too much civilization, too much means of substances, too much industry, too much commerce. The production forces at the disposal of society no longer tend to further the development of the conditions of bourgeoisie property. On the contrary, they have become too powerful for these conditions, by which they are fettered, and so soon as they overcome these fetters, they bring disorder into the whole bourgeois society, and angers the existence of bourgeois property. The conditions of bourgeois society are too narrow to comprise the wealth created by them. And how does the bourgeoisie get over these crises? On the one hand, they enforce destruction of a mass of production forces; on the other, by the conquest of the new markets and by the more thorough exploitation of the old ones. That is to say, by paving the way for more extensive and more destructive crises, and by diminishing the means whereby crises are prevented. Okay, guys. Let me see. Okay. How much is left of this? I don't want to read too much because... Oh, there's still a lot left. That is good. Because I will keep the rest for a secondary stream. I don't like to read the whole thing because when I buy a... Well, actually I didn't buy this, but just for an example, when I buy a book, a manga, a comic, whatever, a video game, I don't play everything immediately. I take my time with it because I don't want to spoil myself too much. It's the same with this book. Wait, where did I left off? Oh yeah, here. I have to put in a thing. What am I gonna put in? Here, something French. I'm gonna put it in here. Okay. Interesting read. I understand half of it. Like I said, it's the English part of it that kind of makes it harder for me. But I understand it so far. And I gotta say, it's an entertaining read. Karl Marx himself, his way of describing things is very Kant-like, very Nietzsche-like, and I like that. so far I haven't really seen much of this illogical thinking that this guy has been talking about before, this Harvard student. I gotta say, I will have only half of an opinion after finishing the read of this. I think that if I read the German version once, I will probably have a much better understanding and a much better opinion on this book. That's for sure. But yeah, I liked reading it. It was I mean, I enjoyed it. It was pretty nice. Yeah, I think we will call an end now because this is in 2.5 hour. Jesus, what's the time? 21. Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream because it's also quite late now. When will I do another one? Maybe tomorrow. Maybe. I mean, why not? Maybe if I have time, I can do it tomorrow. But yeah, overall, it was fun. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I will see you guys another time. And I say goodbye, my communist friends. And I see you. Goodbye, my friends. Thanks for watching the stream. Oscar, if you're here, I hope you have a great day. And when you go to the shop, it will be good for you. You find some cool shit. And yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. And goodbye, my friends. How do I end the stream? Oh, yeah, here.